Hey everybody, this is Bradley Benner with Lead Gadget and the ATM, and today is training webinar number 2. It is August 20th, 7:30 p.m. and today we're going to talk a little bit about the regional site build that I set up for last week. I got the site built, and I actually got several sites built. We're going to kind of go over one of them today and walk through the process of like how I set up the custom lists for a more localized type site build. And this one is a small one. Again, I set up about 5 of them, but we're just going to cover this one because the process was the same for all 5. So there's really no reason to show all of them when I can just get through the concepts from just one. So we're going to walk through that today. And then take any Q&A. If there's any questions, just let me know. Post them on the events page, and I'll get to those when we can. We'll kind of run through this quickly because there's not a whole lot to go through. And I don't have any slides prepared. I didn't think it was necessary for this. So let's just get right into it. So this is, let me grab the screen first. Let me do that before I get going. Okay. All right, so this is the site that I built, one of again, several, and it is this one I actually built today, and I must have an error in one of my custom lists because the tags came out screwed up, and I've got a whole bunch of duplicate tags, and I'm not sure where it came from. I've went through my lists, and I haven't been able to identify it yet, but it's interesting, but it's not a big deal. I'll probably just let it run. I just set the tags to no index, and we can actually walk through some of that in a minute. And it's kind of worth it. I want to test that anyways, because I've always left the tags to index on these ATM build sites, these types of sites, because the tags end up getting indexed, and those are just additional pages that can rank. But I'm curious anyways to see if for normal traditional type site builds that aren't these kind of sites, it's not a good idea to leave tags to index because it can create duplicate content issues, which can actually hurt your ranking ability for your site. It's a panda issue. And unless you have general tags that cover that are used across multiple posts. What I mean by that is if you have a general tag and several different posts have that same tag attached to it, then that's okay, because all a tag page will do is a tag page is like an index page. It's like a category page. If we click on a tag page, it's going to show all of the content, all of the posts that share that tag. So the way that we build the lead gadget sites and the ATM sites is we're told to each tag has to be unique. Well, a unique tag for a traditional site build is not a good idea because a unique tag for each, having unique tags for each post will create by default, WordPress creates a tag page which will display the post that has that tag. So it becomes a duplicate page because you have the original post, then you have a unique tag that was only going to show that one post that has that tag. So it becomes the exact same content on 2 different pages, and duplicate content issues. Then, there's not even a geographic modifier difference there. In other words, the city phrases or whatever, nothing's different about those 2 pages. They're the exact same. They just occupy 2 different pages. And the only difference is the URL. And so I'm just telling you this because kind of give you a background as to why it's interesting that with these types of sites, we always leave the tags to index, and the tags end up indexing and the sites end up doing well, and you end up getting, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of pages indexed. Whereas with normal sites, and again, I think these directory style sites really fall into a different set of rules. I truly believe that Google treats them differently. But with traditional sites, you don't want to do that. If you're going to be if you set your tags to index, you want to use tags that are more general that cover multiple posts instead of just one individual post. Like, you don't want unique tags unless you set what's called a canonical, and I'm not going to get into that. That's some real advanced stuff. So, but my point is I'm curious. I want to test it anyway. So I don't have the tags that set to index in here. I can show you guys where that kind of stuff can be adjusted. It's right within the plugin, both the sitemaps plugin as well as the all-in-one SEO plugin. So we can go over that. But you can see, as per the criteria of the case study that I set up last week, I have an article on here that is not even 800 words. I think this one's about 500 words. It's between like 500 and 600 words probably. I said I was going to do 3 images, and I did. So there's 3 images, okay? I've got one YouTube video in every post, the Google Maps widget, and then I've got an outbound authority link that goes to related content. Again, I don't just do the Wikipedia or .gov crap because I think that's stupid. So I do a related content feed, or I'm sorry, related content links. And so I basically scraped a list of tree service blog links, and then use those, put those into a short code, and added that to my my image text for the last image, for my HTML code for the last image, so that it would automatically, each one of these, you can see that it's a no follow link that I've got set up, but these other images are not clickable. Okay, it's just this one image at the bottom, and it's clickable, and it goes, if I click on it, it's going to open a new tab, and it's going to go to a tree service blog, somebody else's tree service blog. All right, and I do that just because it kind of adds to the relevancy of the page. All right, and so again, this is a very small site. I think it's got about 765 posts on it because it's just for Northern Virginia area. A very, very small site. I got actually 2 contractors in queue waiting for me to have some lead gen sites for them. So I built a handful of sites, and this is just one of them for a pretty small area in Northern Virginia. If we take a look, we can click on some of these posts, and you'll see that I have this image on the right-hand side. Every page, the images are going to be different. I think I had about 180 images that I added to a short code. I basically scraped the, added them to, I scraped them from Google and Bing Images, resized them, added them to a bucket in Amazon S3. Then I extracted the file URLs and put them into a short code. And then I added the short code to the HTML for the images. And so they're spun images. In other words, each image on every page is going to be different. There's only 180 images for the whole site, but they're going to be in different places and that sort of thing. And then you'll see that for the bottom 2 images, the top one I have aligned right, and it's static. In other words, it's always going to be on the right-hand side. And I did that because of the map right here and this next paragraph being on the left. If I had this go align left, it would have looked funny. But these 2 images at the bottom, you'll see on every single post, they're going to, they're at random, they'll be right or left. And I did that because I basically put a little spin tag on the align section. So it goes align left, align right, and it just at random selects them. So I've got about, I think, 10 tags per post, and that's it. That's all I needed. So you can see that if we go ahead and click to the next page, you'll see once again this image up here. It's different now, still aligned right, and these 2 swapped out. They'll switch locations. We'll go look at another one. Same thing, different images. They kind of move around, that sort of thing. See this one now, they're both lined up on the left side, different images. So essentially, I like to do that because it adds just diversity to the page. I'm going to be using the WP overlayer on this for sure. There's no question about it. I'm going to be using it because I've got 2 contractors in queue just waiting on sites to start generating some leads, and I'm just going to have a landing page created that the WP overlayer is going to be set up to where every single one of the posts on this whole site will display a landing page that's going to be like just a call to action, phone number, maybe a discount coupon offer, something like that, and then maybe a contact form, something real simple. So it's very it'll be set up for conversion, just a landing page for conversion for generating leads. So you guys can see that same thing that I did with the images and the blog URLs. See, like if I click on this is going to go to a different blog. This goes to a bonsai tree thing, relevant enough in my opinion. But for the videos, I did same. That's pretty much the same thing. I scraped, I think, 100 videos that had tree care or something in the title, and I just put them into a short code, and just stuck a short code in the middle of the post. With the center tags wrapped around it so that the videos would center, and then published when I deployed the site. There's the videos. The videos all displayed, and they're all different on every page, or just about. I'm sure there's some duplicates, but there's not many. All right, so here's another one. Okay, so very simple site. About 765 posts or thereabouts. If we go take a look at posts, we'll see. Yeah, 764 posts in total. So it's a small site. There's something else. Somebody was asking, I believe it was, damn, I can't remember. Somebody was asking in the Facebook group about a weather widget. And it's interesting because I'm in Culpeper, Virginia, but it's showing Philadelphia, PA. This is an AccuWeather weather widget. If we go over to Google, you guys can download this. It's 100% free. Actually, it's just a piece of code that you copy, but I'll show you. AccuWeather widget right here. If you just go to Google and type in AccuWeather widget, click here. And then this is the widget right here. You can make it bigger, smaller. You can do fixed location if you want, or you can do auto detect and it will display the weather based upon your IP. What's interesting is my IP is showing, and it's only, I'm in the Firefox browser right now and it's showing Philadelphia, which is kind of funny because if I copy this same URL and I go into Chrome and click paste, it should show. Oh wow, this time it's showing Philadelphia. Yesterday it was showing it was actually showing Culpeper. So I'm wondering if I've got through my internet service provider if my IP location is dynamic. My IP is static, but maybe the location is dynamic. Yeah, because it's still showing Philadelphia, which is interesting. But for the most part, it's going to be showing what people's IP is. Okay, so or you know the city that their IP sits in. So I think that might help. We're testing it. This is the first time I've used a weather widget on the site, but we'll find out. Okay. Other than that, what else did I want to talk about? Okay, let me show you where the tags and stuff are. And then we'll talk about how I built the custom list too in just a minute. Okay, so for tags, if you want to set the tags to no index, which again, I'm only testing that, guys. I will give you some more data once I have some results, okay? Because I'm testing this site against 4 others, okay? And the other 4, the tags are set to index like I typically do with these types of sites. But for this one in particular, it's not. So there's 2 places that you would want to go. Number 1, sitemaps. I know a lot of you don't do what I do, but I actually submit my sitemaps to Google Webmaster Tools. It helps with indexing. I don't care about hiding stuff from Google. I know a lot of people do, but I honestly don't care. I just spread my sites out across multiple Google properties so that I don't have all my eggs in one basket. You can see that I have the sitemap index here open. If I go to posts and taxonomies, I've got the categories set to show up. So the category sitemap to show up plus the post sitemap. Okay, you guys can see that. All right. I turned off the tags sitemap, which generally by default when you deploy a site, this plugin it's going to show the tags already set to no end or to disable the sitemap for tags. I usually enable it and then click save so that it gives me the tag sitemap as well, and then I submit that to Google Webmaster Tools and it helps to get those tags indexed. Okay, but again, this one is just a slightly different setup because I want to test it and because there was actually a problem with my tags. For some reason, I have a ton of duplicate tags and I'm not sure how it happened. All right, so that's one place. So for example, if I click tags here and to enable that and I click save changes, now it might be cached, but let's see. I'm going to hit Control F5. It looks like I'm cached. Okay, so let me go back and clear the cache on this real quick, and I'll show you guys because you'll see the tags come up. Okay. So I just hit F5 after clearing the cache on the sitemap settings, and you can see that this is the taxonomy post tag here. If I click that, you'll see that these are going to be the tags. Okay, and you'll see that I have a bunch of duplicate tags here, so I'm not sure how it happened. I've got to go through this particular. The other 4 builds I didn't have this issue, so it must be some particular error that I had with this one build, and I haven't figured it out yet, and I haven't had the time. But so this would be the tags, and what I typically do with this is I end up submitting the post tag sitemap right here. I copy that, and then in Google Webmaster Tools, which is now, by the way, called Google Search Console, I submit that as well, and it helps to get these indexed. Okay. But in this case, like I said, I don't want that. So I just come back over here and I'm going to click on disable tags. I'm going to go ahead and put the cache back on too so that it doesn't have to regenerate every time. Actually, you know what? For this, it really wouldn't matter because it's such a small site. It's not really going to be a load to build that sitemap. So I don't need to cache it. Okay, that said, the other place would be in the all-in-one SEO pack or the all-in-one SEO plugin. If you go to general settings, and then what you want to do is scroll down. Like I set up my settings a particular way so that it gives my, all my page headings and everything, my SEO titles the way that I want. I like the phone number and the title tag, that sort of thing. But if you scroll down, you'll see right here where it says use no index for tag archives. I checked that box so that it's basically, first of all, I'm not submitting the tag sitemap to Google Webmaster Tools. So it's not going to get picked. I'm not telling Google, hey, go crawl these, first of all. Second of all, if Google was going to go find them naturally, which it can do, I've just set this to no index now so that now it's telling Google, hey, don't index these. So the tag pages are still there on the site. They're just not going to be indexed, okay? And that's all you do is you check that and then click Update Options. All right? So because of that, they're not going to get indexed. All right, let me see if there's any questions. And guys, like I said, I'll keep you posted as to next week. I've got a couple other types of site builds that I'm going to do, local site builds. I'm going to show you how I set up the custom list for this one in particular in just a moment. And then next week we'll go over some, probably a couple other site builds that I put together between now and next week. But if you have any questions about this, let me know. Looks like Ganty's here. What's up, Ganty? I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. The screen is not focused. It is blurred. Thank you. I didn't do anything, Ganty, so it must have just had to buffer on your end probably. Okay. All right, so let's get into how I did these custom lists. Because again, this is a small site, so I thought it would be easy to show you on how I did it on this one. So I've got my short code master list here. Hopefully you guys can see this. I know it might be a little bit small on your end, but once the live webinar is over, you can always watch the replay, and the replay will render in 720p, which will be the high def. Okay. So for here, what I would do, I'm just going to walk through how I set these up. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I just want to sort by Florida. So let me find the full state category here. I click on the category, the column, I mean. I go to data, go to filter, drop down pulls up. I unselect all, and then I just scroll down and I went to Virginia. Clicked OK. Now the only thing that's displaying are Virginia, Virginia cities and counties, that sort of thing. All right, so let me scroll down. We're going to go to the bottom of it. This will take a minute. Okay. And I'm going to just gather all of these. I'll end up deleting some of them, but I'm going to copy those. And then I just open up another Excel file and paste them in. Okay. And from there, now I can get rid of the columns that I'm not interested in. The ones that I ended up doing was cities. So just the city name. Then I did city, state, short, counties, and then I did the keywords. One of my custom lists was the keywords, and I'm going to show you how I built that right now. All right, so the first thing that I want to do here is I want to get rid of the columns that I don't need. So that's going to be these here. Okay. I actually don't need the full state either because I didn't use that. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, I don't need zip codes because I didn't get that specific. I want to keep the counties, but the other ones I can get rid of as well. So pretty much I can get rid of all of these. All right, so that leaves me with just city, state short, which I'm going to combine those two in a moment, and then county. Okay, but I didn't want to do the whole thing. I wanted to do a regional site build. Remember, guys, this wasn't a statewide build. This was a regional site build. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to come in here. And by the way, I can go ahead and get rid of duplicates now. Now that we got rid of the zip codes, there's a lot of duplicates in here that we don't need. So, for example, like right here for Alexandria, VA, you can see that there is probably about maybe 10 cells with Alexandria there. And because I don't have zip codes to make them unique, those are duplicates. I don't need those. So what I can do is I can just sort by these three. Actually, I can just go by these three columns here, click up on data. And if you're using Google Sheets, it's slightly different, but it's not much of a difference. I'm just using Excel because this file, the short code master list, is so big. It's really slow to react in Google Sheets. But Excel, it's so much faster. Okay, I usually use Google Sheets for everything, but in this case, it's faster because of the amount of data on the sheet. So here I've got these 3 columns here. I want to come over here where it says in Excel, it says remove duplicates. I'm going to say okay. It said 383 duplicate values were found. So there's 874 that remain. Okay, now that's for the entire site. For the entire state. That's just one city and then the county name for each state. For the entire state of Virginia. All right. However, I'm not doing the entire state. I was just doing a very specific set of counties. Okay, and all the cities within those counties. So now what I want to do is I want to sort by county, and I want to make sure that our filter by county, I should say. So I want to come up here and click the filter button, click the drop down. I'm going to unselect all, and then I'm going to go through here and just select the counties that I wanted. So for example, Alexandria was one of them, and I'm going to show you exactly the ones that I picked for the site that you just saw. Arlington was another one. Let's see, we had Fairfax, Prince William, and Loudoun. So let me find those. We have Fairfax City, Fairfax County. Fairfax City has already been filtered out, I believe. I'll go ahead and put it in there anyways, though. And then we had Loudoun and Prince William. So just one moment. I know it's probably small on your end, guys, but like I said, on the replay, it'll be much easier to see. You just have to set the HD settings, the definition settings, to 720. All right, so click OK, and now you can see that this now shrunk the list down to considerably, and it filtered the list, okay, because you can see the numbers over here, how they kind of jump around, and it's just because they filtered out the view. But if we take a look at this now, we've got just these here, and what I like to do with these is copy these and put them in a new tab to where I'm not looking at a filtered view anymore, but I'm looking at just the list itself that I wanted to work with. Okay, so if you guys can see that, now we ended up with only 56 cities out of those what, 4 or 5 counties. It was really like 4 counties, so there's 56 cities. So it's a very, very small list. Well, the next part was my actual keywords that I wanted to test with this. So this is the list of keywords. I'm going to bring them over into Excel. And I'm just going to put them in another column, leave a column available, but I'm just going to paste them in here so that I had them. So you guys can see there's 16 keywords here that I wanted to target. Tree service estimate, tree removal service, tree removal estimate. And it just pretty much repeats those same pattern with the main keywords in the tree service business. All right, which are tree service, tree removal, tree trimming, tree pruning, tree cutting, and then arborist. I put that in there. I've got some variations of the keywords, but it's a total of 16. So this is what was a little bit tedious. If somebody knows of a better way than what I'm about to show you, I'm all ears. Please, teach me if you know. But this was just a manual process that I did, and what I did was I'd copy the first keyword that I wanted, and I pasted it in this column next to this list here that I have, and I just drug it down to where it stopped at the bottom of the list. Okay, and again, if somebody knows of a better way, I'll be happy to listen to it. Then after I drug it down to there, I copied the last cell in that row of my city data, not my keyword data, but my city data. In this case, it's the county. I'm going to copy that and then come up and copy the entire list again from here and come down and paste it in. And now I'm going to go back up and get my second keyword, which is tree service estimate, and bring it over here. Click paste, and then drag that down to the bottom of the row. And I'm going to rinse and repeat that. I'm not going to keep you guys on here so that you can see me do that all the entire time, but I'm going to do it one more time just to reinforce it. Come over here, paste that in, go back up, grab the next keyword, copy it, paste it in, and then drag it down. All right, and I did that all the way for those 16 keywords. So it was a total of what, 56 sites, I believe. It was 56 cities, and then it was 16 keywords. So it should be 56 times 16. Oops, that's not what I wanted. One moment. Let's just see if that math works out. It should, except for I had screwed up somewhere. But it was a slight mess up. All right, so 56 times 16. Should be close. 896. That's what it's saying. And my site was a little bit less than that. And I think it's because I filtered out some additional duplicates or something. Anyways, close enough. So you guys can see what I did. So then from there, all I did was created my, I'll go ahead and add a row right here. And this is where I created my custom list names. And this one was, let's just call this one Tree Service City. And I would probably say like, and that should not be caps lock. So let me back up. Let's say VA for Virginia, or Nova for Northern Virginia, right? So Nova Tree Service City, something like that. That would be my short list name or short code name. And then my next one would actually be a combination of this and the state short. So, and remember, this would have already been built out all the way down to the bottom. So 865 rows. In this case, I don't have it yet, but let's just say that I did. Then I would copy this. We'll stop at 56 or 57 here. I put this in a notepad file. And I just highlighted that because it's like comma separated value or tab separated. Let's go to edit, replace all, and then I copied this and created this in the next column. All right, and I don't put a comma there because I use that in the tags, and if you have a comma in the tags, then it will create a whole bunch more tags than what you intended. All right, so you guys can see that now. So that's city, state, short. All right, so all I would do is call that Nova Tree Service City, State, short, or something like that, okay? And then Nova Tree Service Counties. And then lastly, this would be Nova Tree Service Keywords, or KWS, right? And that would be how I set up my short codes or my custom list codes. All right, so you guys see how I did that. Now, again, usually I had never, this is really the first kind of like local site build I've ever built, because I've always done national site builds where I just grabbed essentially one focus keyword for the entire site. And so the custom lists were all about location information. I never used a custom list for keywords before. So, you know, I thought about it and I said, well, I don't want to just build a small site that's focused around one particular keyword, because that seems to me like a waste of a build. Instead, I ended up doing like what I showed you here, and I took that list of cities and I had the one keyword for that entire list of cities. And then I went up and grabbed the next keyword and built that for that, you know, for those cities plus that keyword, then the cities plus the next keyword, the cities plus the next keyword, so on and so forth, all the way through, which gives me a site that is now targeting every city in the list with each one of these keywords. Okay, so we shall see if it works. Hopefully it does. I suspect that I'll have some, you know, generate some pretty decent leads from it, but we'll be tracking that. Let me see if there's any questions. What is new with the new ATM? You talked about duplicate tag pages. I joined a few minutes late. So how do we avoid having duplicate tag pages so that we can avoid the duplicate content? I heard you say that you ask the pages not indexed. That is done after the build, correct? Just clarify. Thank you. Yes, Ganti. That's what I'm saying. Now, listen, again, I don't know if you missed the beginning part of this. Typically, all the lead gadget sites, you know, sites built with the ATM, I've always left the tags to index. In fact, I've submit the tag sitemap to Google Webmaster Tools to get the tags indexed faster. All right, so I go actually in the Webmaster Tools, and let me just log in and I'll show you. No, I'm not going to log in. It's all right. You don't need to see that. I just submit where you submit sitemaps in Google Webmaster Tools, which again is now called Search Console. You just grab the post tag sitemap, and from the sitemap index, you'll see all of that. So if we come over here to BW Better WordPress Sitemaps, click on XML Sitemaps, and then click on the sitemap index. This is your index, but if you actually click on and open up the index or each one of the separate sitemaps, you'll see. In this case, I have post tags turned off. But for almost every single site build I've ever done before, in fact, every site build that I've done, lead gadget site builds, I've always left the tags to index, which is counterintuitive to what I know as an SEO for traditional SEO, because traditional sites, smaller sites, unique tags are no good. Unique tags can get you into trouble for duplicate content. For whatever reason, these great big directory sites that we build with Lead Gadget play by a different set of rules. And we want the tags to index, even though it still creates duplicate content issues. For some reason, it doesn't matter. They still get indexed, and it doesn't hurt the site any. In fact, it probably makes the site stronger. All right. And again, I can't explain it because I think that these types of sites just kind of play by a different set of rules, because under normal, like traditional style sites, that kind of stuff would absolutely hurt your site because it would be duplicate content. Trust me, I know. All right. But for whatever reason, these sites work very well with it. So I usually keep them to index. Now, what I was saying was I screwed up somewhere in building my custom list for just this one particular build, because I built 5 sites. Targeting some slightly different areas, but they were 5 sites. And this one was the last one I built. I built this one today, actually. And somewhere I made a mistake in my custom list, and it caused a bunch of duplicate tags. So because of that, I decided, instead of bombing the site, in fact, I actually bombed it 3 times. I was doing a Kevin Big Happy Smith. I bombed it 3 times, and I was unable to still get it to build properly. I still having tag issues. So I said, instead of me trying to locate where it was again and waste more time, I just was going to leave it and set the tags to no index and see if that makes a difference, because it's not something I've tested yet with these types of sites. So I basically, again, just to reiterate, I set these to no index. And where you do that, if you're interested in doing that, and just wait until I got some more data, because I don't know whether it's going to help or hurt. I suspect it's probably not going to help, but I don't know that for sure. I'll have more data over the next week or two as I track this site, as it compares to the others. Okay, and that way I'll be able to give you some concrete evidence as to whether or not the tags help or harm, at least from one example. Okay, the only way to truly know is to do it across multiple examples. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, the duplicate content thing, again, for these types of sites, I haven't ever seen where it makes a difference. Like, in fact, again, I've always tried to get these tags indexed, and I usually am successful by submitting the tag sitemap to Google Webmaster Tools. In this case, I'm not, because I didn't have time to fix them. Just so you can see what I'm talking about, if I go over to tags, you'll see I've got a bunch of duplicate tags here, and they share the same slug too, which is interesting, because usually if you try to build if you're in a regular WordPress install, not one of these, or not something that was deployed by the ATM, and you try to duplicate a tag, it's going to automatically make that duplicate tag slug -2. And then if you try to duplicate it a third time, it's going to be the tag slug -3. Okay, it won't share the same slug, but for whatever reason, the ATM was able to, it produced these duplicate tags in this case on this site, which I'm sure it was something I screwed up, but it's got all these different tag URLs here that are the exact same, that's sharing the same slug, which I found interesting because that doesn't happen under normal conditions. All right, so like, for example, this tag, these 2 tags are exactly identical right here. If I click on view, it's going to open up. You can see it in the URL, right? It's /tag/Arbor Tree Service, Arcola, Virginia. If I come over here and I click on the second one, open link in new tab, you're going to see it's the exact same URL. And there's no difference here, except over here on the right side, the random posts, because that loads a different set of posts for each time this page loads. It's going to be a different set of posts, and that's because that's the way it's coded. So there's no difference. These two pages are the exact same, and they're sharing the same URL. So I don't even know how that happens inside the database, to be honest with you. So I'm sure it's something I did that I screwed up on this site build, and instead of me trying to clean it up, I'm just going to leave them to no index. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I owe you $10. Got you, Kevin. It's in the mail, buddy. Ganty says, so when we build sites with the new ATM, we don't need to worry about setting the tag pages to not to index. No, Ganty, not at all. You don't need to worry about that. Like I said, this is a test on my end because I screwed something up. And under normal circumstances with other types of sites, not these types of sites, but like regular site builds that I do for like local clients and that sort of thing, tags can cause duplicate content issues. I'm not saying that here. I was just giving you guys some background as to what my thinking is on this, so that you guys can learn, maybe understand why I'm doing something. And I wanted to explain that to you guys, so you got some ideas to what, it's interesting how these sites perform, because it's like they break or bend to the rules that other sites can't get away with. And I've always found that fascinating about these big sites that the ATM produces, because they get away with some of the stuff that I would never attempt with a traditional site build, like using the same piece of content on multiple pages. Are you kidding? There's no way I'd do that with normal sites, but with these sites, that's the way you do it, and it works. So, you know, I like to kind of test and play around and see, like, push limits, and also test what traditional SEO knowledge against the stuff that I've learned with these sites to see if one outperforms the other. And that's what I try to share with you guys too, just to make you better, you know, understand more. Like, I think the why is as important as the how, personally. I like to understand why we do stuff, not just how to do it, if that makes sense. Okay. And look, you see, remember it was Philadelphia before, guys. Now it's New York. So I don't know what's going on with my IP. It's kind of odd. I'm curious. It's got to be my IP that's changing locations. The IP is staying the same, but your method of having 16 keywords to build a local small site is really good. What happens when same logic is applied to build a national site with 10 to 15 keywords? Well, that would be an extremely large site, Ganty. Will that be disaster and maybe kicked out by the new ATM? Possibly. It probably would time out the site build, Ganty, because there is a time limit on the build. So that's a good question, but my guess is yes. And see, again, that's why I typically always built the sites, the national site builds, with one focused keyword, because then I'm getting 30,000 posts that are the difference on every post. I want to target that one keyword, but I want to hit 30,000 cities across the United States. In this case, because I'm hitting such a very small area, which was 765 cities. Well, it was actually only 56 cities, but I timed 16 keywords and it came out to be, you saw whatever it was, 765. I wanted to target multiple keywords for each city. And so it just, you know, you got to think about that. If you were to do 10 or 15, like let's say you did 10 keywords for 32,000 posts, then now you're looking at 320,000 posts. And then think about the tags, right? Because typically if you've got 10 tags per post, you're looking at 320,000 posts or tags anyways. Now, if you do 320,000 posts, you're looking at 3.2 million tags. Right. And so you got to consider that those types, I don't recommend doing it. I don't even know that the ATM would probably time out. I don't know for sure. You could test it. What's the worst that's going to happen? The site's not going to build. Don will probably yell at you. But anyways, that would be kind of interesting to test. I think it would be a massive site though, man. You'd have to it would take up a lot of space too on the server. Kevin says, is this your initial experiment with local builds via ATM, or have you had some success? Kevin, this is my first experiment with like hyper local sites. I've done a few statewide sites in the past, but the way that I had done the statewide sites is the way that I had built the nationwide sites. In other words, was targeting one keyword for the entire state, and I would use like zip codes and stuff like that. So the sites still ended up being fairly big, but they were just targeting one keyword. And I have had some success with them for local businesses. I've used the overlayer plugin or the zero bounce or something to where it redirects people to where I want them to go. And I've been able to generate some leads for some of my contractors that way. However, I think I was leaving a lot of, I think I wasn't being as effective as I could have been by targeting multiple keywords per site. You see what I'm saying? Especially when we were using the VPHs and we had a limit to how many sites we could build. It was like the VPH 75 was 75 sites. Didn't matter whether you were targeting, just a regional build or it was a nationwide build. It counted as a slot out of the 75 sites. And so I feel like I had left a lot. I was taking up a lot of unnecessary space with these one keyword sites. And now I think for the local stuff, targeting multiple keywords is better. So, and I don't know. I'm testing it, Kevin. That's the thing. I don't know for sure, and I won't know until I have some more data. I just started building these sites at the end of last week. And I've just got a handful of them. And like I said, I'll be testing them, and monitoring, tracking them and everything over the next couple weeks and see what happens, right? The nice thing is they're small enough that they should index pretty rapidly. This one was just built earlier. We can go take a look, see if it's what the index status is so far. Oh, and I'll talk about the domain a little bit on this one too, because I purchased an expired domain for this. It wasn't just one that It wasn't a brand new domain. Okay, see, this one was built earlier today, guys, and look, I've got 17 paid posts indexed already. That's not too bad. And all I've done really was I turned on backlinks indexer and I submitted the sitemaps, which in this case are just 2 sitemaps, the post sitemap and the category sitemap. Okay, and you can see I've got about 17 posts indexed already. All right, so again, this is a small site. There's 765 posts. I suspect between now and next week, hopefully it'll index by then. I hope so. The domain that I purchased, I got this one just from, I use a domain crawler to find expired domains that basically were expired. I'll show you just so you can see this. This domain has some metrics already. And this is the first one. All the other sites that I built have always been on brand new domains that I just purchased from like Namecheap. This domain I purchased from Namecheap, but it was a domain that had been registered at some point before, so it had some metrics. Here I am at Majestic SEO. If we take a look at this, you'll see I bought this because it has a trust flow of 12, citation flow of 8, and it had 54 backlinks, but from 20 referring domains already. Wasn't related stuff. This was actually from like computers and software and stuff, was the inbound link profile. But I wanted to test it. I was able to pick this domain up for $10 because it's just a .com domain. I picked it up for $10, but I found it using a domain crawler that I use to find expired domains with metrics. Okay, and so this is actually the first site build. I'm trying it on that. I was hoping that just having some inbound links already and a little bit, trust. These are good metrics. Trust flow being higher than citation flow, that's always a good sign. And I just wanted to see if that's going to help this site to perform better, especially just being a small site. I thought it would be interesting to see. So that's what I did. You can see I built it on a subdomain, guys. I always do that. I know I've been over that multiple times with you guys, but I never, ever, ever build on the root. I always build on subdomains, and I know other people do other things different, and that's fine, but you guys will never see me build on a root domain. It's always on a subdomain. Okay. So that said, let's see if there's any questions, and then we're probably going to wrap it up. When will we see you doing a national site build with a new ATM using Amazon EC2? Maybe you've already shown. I was not active. I was a bit under the weather with some health issues. No, Yanti, this is my second week back into doing the training since the updates. Okay, and I'm using EC2. I'm not even using a server. This site build that you're looking at here is on an EC2 instance. Okay, the training that Don put together for how to set up an EC2 instance is exactly what I followed because I had never done it either, and all I did was set up a new instance on Amazon. And put inserted the details into the ATM just the way that Don shows in the training, and that's it. So I don't have the dedicated server yet. I'm just getting back into building after 2 months of not building. So if I get on a roll, time permitting, and I need it, I'll get the server, no question. But for right now, as I'm kind of slowly integrating back into building on a regular basis, I just got the EC2 instance and I was curious as to how to do it. I've never set up an EC2 instance before, so I thought it would be kind of fun to do. It was actually really easy, and I like the fact that there's no cPanel. I don't have to worry about anything. It's all just done right here in WordPress. So I would recommend probably I'll do some additional site build stuff, Ganti, like with different types of sites, but it's going to be, over the coming weeks. Right now, my focus is on these local case studies. I got a couple versions of them I'm going to do. This was a regional site build. I'm going to do a couple statewide site builds. And then I'll probably get into some additional, national stuff, targeting some affiliate offers and traffic generation for like opt-ins, email opt-ins and that sort of thing. All right. Okay, guys. Well, it looks like there's not really any other questions. If you have any, go ahead and post them. If not, I'm just going to shut it down for the day. I'm going to keep tracking on this, and I'll probably just show some. Maybe next week, go into some screenshots on Google Search Console to show you how it's been indexed and the types of impressions it's getting, click-through rate, and then again, if I build out a couple other sites, I'll probably show those as well. Okay. So if you guys have any other questions, post them. Otherwise, I'm done. Ganti says, if I'm going back to look for doing 25 sites in the beginning, what are the best parameters that I should select? The EC2 instance in relation to memory, CPU, and the disk space. Okay, Ganti, I don't know because I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you, other than whatever the settings were that Dawn selected in the training videos for setting up an EC2 instance. I selected one level higher for everything. So, and when you go through the process of actually setting it up, you're going to be like hit, you know, a menu of services will be displayed to you, and you can just select from there. And Dawn chose like the micro or something like that, it was called, and the micro instance or something. And I went with just one step higher because, as Dawn has said with EC2, if you start to see that your sites are slowing down or not performing very well, it means you're probably at the point you've reached capacity, and you just set up another instance. So instead of, you know, it's no difference. You can have 10 small instances or one big one. It really doesn't make any difference. So I just kind of set up one that was a little bit bigger than what he set up in the training, and I figured I'd, you know, stuff 10 sites on it and then move on to another instance, because you're paying for the bandwidth, right? The data and the bandwidth used. So, you know, you just purchase another one if you fill this one up. And Don says on his end he can monitor the performance, I guess, through the equipment or the server and software and stuff that he has on his end, that he can see when somebody's EC2 instance is starting to get clogged, and he can also tell us about it. It's something I'm sure you could just submit a support ticket and say, hey, how much space do I got left? And he'll let you know. Okay. So I haven't set up the dedicated server for this yet. I'm just using EC2. I can't tell you, Ganti, exactly what size to get because I don't know. Like I said, I just got one size bigger than what he got. And when I planned on putting about 10 sites on it. And if it's still, it sites this small, I could probably put, you know, dozens of sites on. This is a very, very small site. But if I'm doing some bigger sites, I was only planning on putting 10 or 12 on there, and that's about it. So I'll probably just have Dawn take a look at it and tell me how, or teach me as to how I can know, and then I'll share that with you guys. Okay. Okay, well, that's it, guys. Thanks for everybody being here. We will see you next week. Next week is in the morning, 7:30 a.m. We'll go over some more of this regional site build stuff. I'll probably have a statewide site built by then, too, and I'll go over what I did for that as well. And we'll track some of the results from this week, and we'll see you guys next week. If anything comes up between now and then, just post your question on the events page, and I will get to it first thing next week. So thanks for everybody being here. We'll see you then.